Okay, so we got 2 left, 7 and 8. Okay, so for example 7, we are asked to solve for this purple or this green inequality. Remember, or is the same thing as a union, so we want where both of these apply. First thing that we need to do is solve for both of these, and then we can look at it on a number line and go from there, okay? So our goal is to get the x by itself, pluses and minuses separate your parts, so we need to move this 3 first. The opposite of minus is plus. So we have 5x is less than or equal to 13. The 5 is connected to the x by multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. We are not dividing by a negative, so we do not have to change the sign. So this is what we're going to stick with for our first inequality or our first set, okay? For the next one, we have the green one, which is the x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 5. Pluses and minus separate your parts. We need to move the 1 first by subtracting. So we have x, keep the sign the same only when you're dividing. And we have a 4 here, okay? So, we're going to work with these two things. And our goal is to figure out the solution set for this. And again, we're looking for the union of that, okay? So we need to draw them on a number line and go from there, okay? When you do it on the number line, make sure you write it right on top of each other, okay? So the first thing that you need to determine is if 13 over 5 is bigger or smaller than 4. Go ahead and check that in your calculator. It should be somewhere between 2 and 3, so that it's going to be less than 4. So when we write it, 13 over 5, just remember that 4 is going to show up on this right hand side, okay? It says x is less than 13 over 5, so it means we shade to the left. And because there's a line underneath it, that means include, so we use a closed circle because there's something inside, or we use a bracket because they're stuck in gel, okay? Next, we have our green one. Again, 4 is going to be greater than 13 over 5. So we have our 4, we have a closed circle because there's a line, and it says greater than or equal to 4, so we shade to the right. Because it says or, we want both of them, okay? So remember, or means both, and means where they share. So we want both the purple and or the green, okay? So then for our final answer, we would combine these into one, okay? So I'm going to write out the final answer in graph form here. So we are taking the purple section and we are taking the green section and just putting them both on the same chart, okay? So this would be the graph for this problem. And then if we're writing this as a solution set in interval notation, again, we're writing interval notation, you go from left to right. So that's gonna start at negative infinity, go all the way to 13 over 5, then pick back up, I didn't write it there, pick back up at 4, and then go all the way to infinity. So now let's talk about whether we're using parentheses or brackets. Remember, our infinity signs always have parentheses. Because these are closed circles, we are going to have brackets, right? Or because they have lines underneath them, we use brackets. And then we separate this with a union, because remember, union means or. And that would be our solution set, or an interval notation.